prices are supposed to come down, not airplanes.
Well, let me say someplace that could really use a lot of cutting. Elon has very many, what do you call it?
Government contracts. Yeah.
I think, because I don't remember, maybe y'all heard it, but I don't remember looking for an armored car. And I don't remember. I don't care what it looks like. I don't remember asking for it. I don't know why I'm paying for it. I want to know, when did I say, hey, we need another agency next to NASA? Yeah. So when did we start paying for his stuff?
You talk about SpaceX overseeing FAA?
No. He's going to be cutting. NASA.
Yeah.
That's the competition. So what is the real deal here? Money. If we want to cut some money, let's cut some of these. I'm okay with that.
Follow the money.
Because we have to pay for it. You are paying for everything he sends up that comes back down, that falls back down and breaks up. That's out of our pockets. We'll be right back.
All them contracts they talking about, the SpaceX and the armored car, came under Joe Biden.
Yeah, I think Donald Trump is not dumb enough to only have electric cars in the war zone where you don't have enough places to charge a fucking electric car.
Since it's been a little minute, since we reacted to them. I don't think I can ever go back, bro.
I wouldn't be mad about that.
I don't think I can ever go back because that shit was hard to hear. Just coming back. At first, when you're in the mode, you can hear them, you just be like, all right, just get on their ass. But actually, I don't think I can do it no more. It's like a nagging puppet dog. Like, I don't know what it is. Like,
I think you say nag is something else.
Okay.
Other word for dog.
Yeah, it's that. Hey, Trump called him that.
Did he?
Hell yeah. Didn't he call Whoopi a bitch?
No.
He said, well, okay, people thought he said it. He said something. Remember, he was on stage and he said something, B-word. He didn't say B-word, but he said something toward that.
I don't think I've ever seen Trump curse. Now that I really
No,
think about
he didn't curse. But
he would have called a woman a bitch. You know how big of a headline that was going to be?
Remember, we was like, oh, it sounded like he was finna say that. Do y'all remember that?
Maybe.
You talking about with the comedy show? He was talking about her performing at his comedy show? That's the only thing I remember.
It was at his casino.
No, he was definitely talking about her. No, he was definitely talking about her. We was like, oh shit, he sounded like he was going to say it. But yeah, anyways.
No, I think the issue is they're not whacking enough. There's this concept in private equity when you get a bankrupt company and you go in there, you cut 20% more than your initial read. And then you find like a pool of mercury, the organization gels back together again. Always cut deeper, harder when there's fat and waste. The FAA, it's not the people. The code is cobalt. It's from the 60s. It needs CapEx put into it for the technology to be upgraded to make it safer. Fat like a chicken. All of these agencies are like big fat chickens dripping over barbecues of fat. This is the best barbecue I've ever seen, but I don't think it's happening fast enough. They're not cutting enough. Keep slashing, keep hacking while you have a 24-month mandate before the midterms. Cut. More cutting. Believe me, it's going to work out just great. Everybody should be happy about this.
Even people with the nuclear codes, cut them too?
Cut everything. Because if you don't see what they're doing and they can't show you that they're adding value, you whack.
But it's not clear that they're even asking people to show us what you're doing. Again, this was a story Friday, and literally Elon said, oops, we gotta rehire them because nobody knows how to do what these people know how to do.
Yeah, the nuclear thing. Okay, gets it wrong once in a while. Big deal. So what?
I agree with that.
That's 10% of the time.
It's okay. I actually think it's okay if they run into a stumble here or there because the project is so massive. The need to cut is so massive.
I might do that.
The government is so massive. It's inconceivable that you wouldn't make a mistake here or there. But I think that's acceptable if the greater goal is achieved, which is a smaller government, more efficient government. Trim the fat.
Even if someone dies, or even if someone, because
are you alleging that someone has died from this?
We don't know. I'm talking about when the rubber meets the road. I'm talking about, for example, Kansas City. 30,000 government employees might be laid off. It will destroy the economy of Kansas City. That's okay.
Why do you say that?
Will it?
Because I'm reading what the individuals from Kansas City have been saying, that they're very concerned.
What do you think they're going to say when they're going to get whacked?
Of course they're going to say that. But my point is, do we think that's smart to live in an American city just go under?
How many American cities need a massively oversized federal government to stay afloat? I mean, isn't that said more about the city than the government?
But when did we get to the point where presidents are measuring themselves by how many people they put out of work instead of how many people they get
And
jobs
not a moment too soon.
Yeah,
Not a moment
this is
too
crazy.
soon.
This is
Because
absolutely
the government only ever gets
big
bigger.
fat
Never
chickens.
smaller.
Don't go there,
lay
Scott.
some eggs, and maybe then we can.
Yeah, don't go there with Scott.
They love the eggs argument all of a sudden when they didn't want to hear that shit for The years. price of eggs is not going up.
Did
What about gas? What about inflation? What about interest rates?
Did Donald Trump just do a photo op with eggs and bacon and cereal? Remember he pulled out that all over
Is
the
he at
table?
McDonald's?
And he put all the eggs and stuff on the table and said, "Y'all, this was going on."
So
Now they love
when
these
people were
eggs.
complaining about grocery prices during the election, it was not a thing, but now it's a thing. Yeah, all right.
Well,
yeah.
because they're only using it because they said, I guess that's the only thing he haven't done for his presidency.
It's been 4 weeks, guys.
That's the only thing.
That
That's
takes
the only
time.
thing. That's the only thing they can complain about. It's nothing else they can really
And,
complain about.
in 2 days, it will officially be a month.
That's why he's cutting all of the enormous spending that they're doing right now. It's in the making.
I
He's
forgot
also
that.
he's also actually doing it right now.
Yeah, he's stopping wars. He's doing.
He's
a lot
actually
of shit.
trying to
Peace
help
treaties.
inflation right now.
So I don't know.
I ain't
what's
gonna
the
lie,
problem.
Scott clean, man. I ain't never thought about the gray suit with the blue under and the red tie. That's clean, bro.
I've got a lot of friends who are Democrats, and they haven't asked me for advice, but if I did, I'd tell them, look, you just got to try harder not to suck. I mean, think about it. Over the past 4 years, the Democrats mismanaged Congress, they mismanaged COVID, they mismanaged the economy, they mismanaged inflation, they mismanaged the national debt, they mismanaged Afghanistan.
Race,
More
gender.
recently, in their opposition to President Trump and Mr. Musk, the Democrats have chosen to support the bureaucrats and the spending porn over the American taxpayer.
Right.
Just like they support illegal immigration over the rule of law, just like they support transgender athletes over women's sports, just like they support Hamas terrorists over Israel. All Democrats are not like this, but the party is controlled right now by people who majored in online activism with a minor in puberty blockers. I know these people. They think men can breastfeed. They're triggered by race. They cry if you use the wrong pronoun. And most fair-minded Americans look at this and they go, these people are about 10 exits past normal. And that's what's killing the Democrats right now, in my opinion.
He's right.
He ain't saying nothing else crazy.
He's right.
They said he said something crazy.
Nah, he's just funny.
Next time you need a police, call up Craig. That shit feel funny to me.
Yeah, that's my boy for that one right there.
There was an Inspector General audit last year that showed over an 8-year period, the Social Security Administration made almost $72 billion in improper payments, a little less than 1% of payments in that time period. Now, the report also says that most of these improper payments were overpayments, not payments to deceased people or people who didn't qualify to receive these payments. At the same time, Jose, this effort by DOGE is to go through this agency like every other and try to weed out waste and fraud.
Yeah, I mean, and also 72 billion, and that's without a comprehensive search. I mean, that's significant.
What are the plans to do so if those records are obtained?
Well, as we know, there's a massive amount of fraud in this country. You have, for example, foreign fraud rings. These are foreign nationals who come into the United States. They use fake Social Security numbers. They use fake identities to steal billions in taxpayer benefits. There's no way to know until DOGE gains full access exactly how much money we're talking about. But over a 10-year normal budget window, you could be talking about saving over $1 trillion by clamping down on massive fraud in our tax and entitlement systems, including, again, those carried out by organized fraud and theft rings. A very important point in all this is to understand that DOGE are subordinate staffers of the federal government. They are political appointees, just like me, just like everyone else in the White House, that serve and answer to the president. So we're not talking about an outside private entity. We're talking about the existing federal staff of the federal government performing their statutory and constitutional duty.
I've said this like 10 times in the past like 2 days, but why would someone be opposed to figuring out where your tax dollars are going?
Brainwashed. Because they thinking their money is getting touched. They think they're not going to have no money.
They're framing it as Elon
that?
and them having access to our private documents.
And they're going to get rid of Social Security.
Oh, so
people think they're going to get rid. They're looking at it so they can get rid of it. That's what people think.
Oh,
I don't understand how people are this far gone.
No, he cooked their ass
to
on
where
X.
they say, hey, we should know where our tax
He
dollars
basically
are going.
said, do y'all realize I own the PayPal, right? That's literally what he said on X. And he cooked their ass.
He invented it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Someone was telling me
so
that the other
confused,
day. I
bro.
was so mind blown. I was like, wait, what?
He has been grilling people on X really badly.
As he should.
y'all giving Cash App y'all social. Y'all worried about Elon.
People got on a Chinese TikTok app, Red Note, and gave China their information. But Elon can't see it. No.
President Trump is overseeing DOGE, ma'am. That's the bottom line. And everything that is being done has to be done through executive order, and that is through Trump. And oddly enough, Congress better get some guts and start backing this up, or the next president could undo everything that's done. And that is really my biggest fear. I don't care what title you give Elon Musk. It's amazing to me, though, that all of a sudden capitalism and making money in this country is now declared evil. The Democrats, he was their guy for so long. Now all they have is Soros and a few others. So I think that's why they're disturbed about all this.
You're Republican.
Right, but I think that there's a lot of Americans who are supportive of this effort to clear out government waste, including members of Congress on both sides of the aisle. But there's also concern by how much access Musk and DOGE staffers have to their private sensitive data. You're also on the House Oversight Committee, and given what we just talked about, Musk's investments with China and billions of dollars before the government, and now, potentially having access to all this private sensitive data and not having full transparency on what is happening with that.
Yes, ma'am.
What information do you actually have on what DOGE is doing with that data? What are your questions? What do you want to know? Certainly, as a member of the Oversight, you have some questions.
Well, first of all, Elon Musk, when he owned PayPal, they never had a breach of security. IRS is a nightmare, ma'am. You have folks that still haven't gone back to work 4 years after COVID. As a United States congressman, I can write a letter of concern over a constituent of mine having a problem with the IRS, and it takes up to 6 months for me to get a response.
Look, I'm not saying there's no
IRS
problems with government agencies or the IRS.
Hold on. You asked me a question.
But you're not answering it.
And the IRS the IRS has hundreds of different groups that have access to this stuff. And yet, no one's complained about that. You don't hear
there's
the left
checks and
about it,
balances
but
in
now
place
they
for the
do,
specific
because
system. That's not
there
true.
are
Even
no
the
checks and
IRS,
balances, but-
even
No,
politicals
ma'am.
and the former
No,
IRS
ma'am. The
commissioner who was
IRS
just on the show yesterday said even he didn't go to it, and it's highly unusual for politicals to have access to that system. Do you not have questions
What
about
about
what they're
banks?
doing
They
with
can steal
the
your
data,
money.
why they want access to private tax
FDIC.
information from Americans? Do you not have those questions as a member of the Oversight Committee?
No. Just say it, bro.
I have questions. The only reason you'd have questions is if you're doing something crooked, and you're going to see a lot of congressmen with red faces
them
when they
straps.
follow this paper trail
my name
back
for
to
real.
members of Congress, ma'am. And that's the bottom line. Where were they fussing the last 3 or 4 years? I mean, we've had these groups different groups have access. Hundreds of different people have access to this that are nowhere in the scope of what needs to be. And yet no one raised one peep about it. Now Elon Musk gets a hold of it, and he's going to do something. He's going to make some changes that need to be made. And you all are pitching a fit. It's the same old line, and you attack the message
To be
carrier,
clear, you
not
all
the
were not
message.
pitching a fit. A lot, as I said, a
He's
lot
trying
of
to grill her
people
ass bad.
think it's a good thing to weed out waste, but there are fair questions to be asking congressmen about these unelected people
Well, and-
going in and having access to private information from America. How can you
We didn't
not be
elect the
asking
federal
those questions? Those are very fair questions.
He's hired as a
And-
job.
But hold on, let me
How many
follow up
members-
with you.
how
Hold
many
on,
members-
because there's a difference between, listen.
Hey, hold on for a second. How many people at the IRS are elected? How many of those are elected, ma'am?
Okay.
You're proving my point. You've got all these people, and this is a very porous agency. We
Those
know
are,
that.
there's a
They've been
difference
hacked
between
multiple
civil
times,
service and checks and balances in place in a small group and politicals who are going in, many of them young staffers who we know nothing about, really.
We don't know anything about IRS agents.
But why don't you have those questions as a member of the Oversight Committee? If a Democratic administration was doing this, would you not be asking questions?
And the questions are being asked, ma'am, but I want you to look at these.
I'm not hearing them from you.
He's answering them, though.
Well, those are Japanese rifle that, guess what? My dad was 21 years old when he killed the people that carried that. You all don't question the fact that, you know, we these 22-year-old people, the ones that fight our dadgum wars, but yet
there's a
when
difference between members of the greatest generation going to foreign service, risking their life to serve our country, and young staffers going in with their computers and trying to get access to personal data. There is a big difference, but I want to follow up here. I just want to follow up because I think this is an important question.
You won't answer your own questions, ma'am.
No, Congressman, hold on. I want to go to this question because, again, it's not a question of whether waste should be rooted out of the government. So many people agree with that. But now we're seeing it's the way it's being done. The government is trying to claw back several employees who oversaw nuclear weapons after they were fired. They realized, we made a mistake. We need these staffers who oversee nuclear weapons. A professor at the University of Maryland, Don Kettle, who specializes in civil service, told the Washington Post that yes, the government is likely full of wasteful bloat, but said a clumsy fix is worse than no fix at all, saying it's like going to a meat market, getting a piece of steak and trying to cut out the fat with a sledgehammer. That would only make a mess of the meat. Do you think, Congressman, that is a fair point, that the way this is being done is clumsy rather than methodical?
Again, you're upset about you're attacking the message carrier, not the results. You talk about nuclear secrets. You had a person who was in charge of nuclear secrets, a man who dressed up as a woman, would go into the airport and steal women's luggage, was overseeing those nuclear secrets under the Biden administration, and I never heard y'all say a peep about that.
Whoa!
Again, man,
I don't know anything about that. I'll be transparent.
Elon Musk. Well, you need to look it up. It's all over the internet. It's all over. He was uncharged.
But the question is, this is unrelated to the
people
people overseeing nuclear weapons being fired. And Elon Musk himself said, we're moving so fast, of course there will be mistakes. The question is, you know, some of these mistakes are really high stakes. Accidentally firing people overseeing nuclear weapons. Do you see that point?
Yeah, mistake.
They defunded the police.
Humans will make mistakes, man, but currently these are bloated programs. You have no-show employees that are angry that they're having to go back to work, that they've moved, and they're not.
No one's disagreeing. There's bloat and waste.
Jobs were.
No one's disagreeing.
Well,
with
then
that.
why are y'all not exposing it? Have y'all even talked about, hey, Mozambique? We sent them $10 million for circumcisions. I mean, goodness gracious, ma'am. Americans are paying.
We've been covering at length
salaries
where the money is going
to.
No,
you haven't. You all are all.
No.
This needs to end today.
That was just a build-up.
I want to talk about that. You mentioned China and the claim.
Man, she's just like, well, why you guys are asking questions about who's seeing our data? Bruh, we don't know who was seeing our data before that. So now that people can go in and see our data and fire the misuse of our data, there's a problem. I don't know who these IRS agents are seeing our data. The hell are you talking about?
We know if you didn't pay their taxes, they're going to be knocking at your damn door.
Yeah, I just know that they're going to come get me. I don't know who's seeing my data, who's coming up on me, but I'm supposed to be mad that they're cutting government rates. But there's young people that we don't know anything about. We don't know anything about the IRS agents, idiot.
I also see a problem that some cities have to be funded by the government to survive. I feel like that's a problem.
Yeah, the Kansas City thing, I want to look into that because I've got a bunch of friends out in Kansas City. I've heard them say nothing about
this. Is the viral clip.
And they killing out there too, so you know, they ain't helping.
This is the viral clip. Apparently, she got him cut off the show. Like,
out of the government. So many people agree with that. But now we're seeing it's the way it's being done. The government is trying to claw back several employees who oversaw
seeing those nuclear secrets under the Biden administration, and I never heard y'all say it.
Of course, there will be mistakes. The question is, you know, some of these mistakes are really high stakes. Accidentally firing people overseeing nuclear weapons. Do you see that point?
Humans will make mistakes, ma'am, but currently these are bloated programs. You have no-show employees that are angry that they're having to go back to work, that they've moved, and they're not
No
even
one's
in the
disagreeing.
districts of
There's
where
bloat
their
and
original
waste.
jobs were.
No one's disagreeing.
Well, then why are y'all not exposing it? Have y'all even talked about, hey, Mozambique, we sent them $10 million for circumcisions? I mean, goodness gracious, ma'am. Americans are paying
We've been covering
50%
at
of their
length
salaries.
where the money is
No,
going
you
to.
haven't. You all y'all do is run down Elon Musk and Donald Trump, and you continuously do this, and that's why your ratings are in the tank, ma'am. You
All right,
need to jump on
Congressman
board
Tim
with this
Burchett, we're
thing.
going to leave it
America
there.
is tired.
I do appreciate your time coming on and having this conversation. Thank you very much. Coming up.
And that's why your ratings are in the tank, man.
They are.
It's between him and
All the
Kennedy,
liberal
bro.
channels
This dude's
ratings are in
hilarious.
the tank.
It's because they try to prop these things up as issues. People voted for government reform, and now you're mad that they have access to our data. We don't know who had access to our data before this. We literally have no freaking idea. All we know
Has
that's what I'm saying. All we know that is that they're hired by the government to see our information. So now it's a problem that they're hired by DOGE to see our information and see where our money's going and cut out the waste. But we didn't know who was seeing our information and investigating before. But it was such a good thing that they were hired by the government.
Y'all ordering clothes off Shein.
That's what they're paid to do. Create a problem that's not really a problem to push their agenda, man.
You can use your logic against her. I mean, oh my gosh, they fired some people. Well, now we're gonna rehire them. Okay, well you got your job back. What are you bitching for?